We have all enjoyed seeing Jurassic Park movies featuring the non-existent dinosaurs. It made us wonder what other extinct species used to look like in pre-human civilization. It's true that wildlife can be fascinating, and there's so much more left to discover. Scientists estimate that 80 to 90% of species are unknown. That means that animals that we don't even know about are getting extinct without our knowledge. However, the fate of some identified species is not any different. Human greed happens to be at the forefront of all reasons. The destruction of habitat by humans turns out to be the primary culprit for biodiversity loss. Other reasons can include trophy hunting and pollution released by harmful industrial practices. These things directly or indirectly affect the native species, chopping down their numbers and later forcing them into extinction. So let's discuss some rarest animals that are prone to extinction in the upcoming years. The Yangtze finless porpoise. This finless porpoise seems to be unique in its own way. It's the only living porpoise that lives in fresh water and doesn't possess a fin on its back. With a large round head and a cute smile, this fish is one of people's all-time favorites. It resides in the Yangtze River in China and hence is named after that. In addition, it's listed as a critically endangered species owing to years of environmental neglect and degradation. The Yangtze River happens to be the longest river in Asia and is a significant trade spot for China. So this is why ship movements, heavy infrastructure, and oil spills messed heavily with the ecosystem of finless porpoises. Overfishing and water pollution are also other reasons why their numbers were going down recently. However, there is another overlooked fact. The Yangtze porpoise needs an abundant supply of food as it preys upon fellow dolphins living nearby. Sadly, for the past 2 decades, there is a shortfall of freshwater dolphins that could feed their predators. The dolphins were reduced for the same reasons that this porpoise now has to face. Luckily, China intervened and upgraded its protection to first level protected species in 2021. Right now, there are approximately 1,000 of them in the sea, and their population is stable. These numbers are still low, but there's still hope that the tables can be turned and the Yangtze porpoise can reach their maximum reproductive potential. The Gobi Bear. The Gobi Bear is also known as Malazai in the Mongolian language. The Malazai is a species of brown bears that reside in the Gobi Desert in Mongolia. They're very few in number, and the recent survey shows that there are around 51 of them left in 2022. Although its population shows a slight increase from 40 in 2017 to now 51, it still made it to the list of critically endangered species. They are adapted to live in the extreme desert environment with harsh climates. The term harsh doesn't only indicate volatile temperatures that sways between 4 degrees Celsius in the summer and -4 degrees Celsius in the winter, but it also shows inhospitable surroundings like giant sand dunes, minimal rainfall, extreme wind, and ice-filled canyons. So it's safe to say that the Gobi Bear is the new face of resilience. They're isolated from other animal populations due to rough terrain, pastoral activities, and human settlements. Being separated for long distances from other bear populations, they have achieved reproductive isolation, resulting in a less genetic diversity and fragile DNA. Being smaller than any other bear, they don't prey on any other animal. Instead, they eat a plant-based diet like berries, roots, wild onions, and others. So you might ask, what is harming them? The grasslands were turning bleak due to overgrazing, putting more pressure on native species. However, the biggest stressor to the environment is the large-scale mining operations being carried out. The Gobi Desert, being rich in mineral deposits like copper and gold, continues to attract international investors. This degrades the life for not only Gobi bears, but also coexisting animals like camels, ibex, snow leopards, and gazelles. Efforts to conserve the dying population started way back in 1959 when this hunting was declared illegal. Later on, a proper conservation program was put in place to provide them with good nutrition consisting of corn, wheat, and turnips at select locations. Their habitat was protected by forming protection zones, allowing them to thrive. The Mongolian people's love of animals was shown by their keen efforts to assist the government in conservation. And volunteer programs, like the Gobi Bear Project, was founded by specialists to preserve and track Gobi Bear behaviors. The Hawksbill Sea Turtle. The Hawksbill Sea Turtle is named after the pointed beak, which is similar to most birds. It's very recognizable, owing to its beautiful, striped shell, which reflects the sunlight, making it appear like a shining stone underwater. The Hawksbill Sea Turtle are widespread in the tropical and subtropical waters of the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Oceans. Sea turtles are solitary creatures, and they only interact with each other for mating. For those that are unfamiliar with turtle nesting, sea turtles nest between April and November in isolated pocket beaches. This is where they lay eggs, which after 2 months hatch and return to the sea. Artificial lighting on the beach causes hatchlings to mistake it for actual destinations, such as the Moonlit Sea. During the last 3 decades, their population has severely declined. 80% of them have been wiped out of the face of the earth, leaving behind approximately 20,000 to 23,000 nesting turtles. So it's no surprise that they have been internationally declared as endangered. Many reasons can be traced that are responsible for their decline. Unfortunately, the Hawksbill shell is one of its greatest liability. The shell is used extensively for commercial purposes to create ornaments, jewelry, hair decorations, and many more. Over the past years, more and more beaches have been redesigned for tourist purposes, leading to unavailable nesting sites for sea turtles. Furthermore, marine conditions like plastic pollution, coral reef damage, and fishing activity are significant stresses for their habitat. The global community is responding to this by forming protective laws and international agreements for hawksbill turtles, as well as nesting sites that are being conserved by sealing those spots during specific months. Tasmanian Devil. Perhaps the most interesting creature on this list is the Tasmanian Devil. Despite the fact that they have a unique name, they have other features that will completely blow your mind. When the first European settlers entered Tasmania, they noticed terrifying and loud screams coming from the bushes. They found out that these terrifying screams were coming from a small creature, and so this odd species was named the Tasmanian Devil. But don't be distracted by its small size. Its bite is so strong that it can crush your bones and break the metal cages of other livestock animals. Thanks to its oversized head, it can open its mouth up to a startling 80 degrees and easily achieve its feat. The human body stores fat in the belly area, which widens on consuming more food. However, the Tasmanian Devil stores its body fat in its tail, so a plump tail is a sign of a healthy Tasmanian Devil. Being the largest carnivorous marsupial in the world, their eating habits aren't any less disturbing. Being scavengers, they can easily feast on large animals like sheep, rabbits, wallabies, and more. They leave no leftovers of their prey, even consuming the bones and fur. When they can't finish eating in one sitting, they sleep in the body of their dead target so they can wake up later and eat the rest. These devils were once found in mainland Australia, but later their numbers was restricted to the Tasmanian state. Unfortunately, the reduced population is due to a deadly disease called devil facial tumor. It's an infectious cancer that is nearly 100% fatal and has reduced the species population by a staggering 85% since 1996. This disease causes lumps to form around the mouth, making it hard to eat, and the devils starving to death. Consequently, their survival became a concern for Australian authorities as their numbers reduced from 140,000 to only 20,000. Since then, this animal is regarded as endangered by the International Union of Conservation of Nature. Fortunately, the Australian government took swift action to counter the threat to Tasmanian devils. This includes isolating the already healthy ones and breeding them to increase the population size. In addition, efforts have been made by researchers to develop a vaccine for this disease. Packs of Tasmanian devils are now reintroduced to mainland Australia to save them from extinction. The pangolin. Pangolins are the most poached animals in the world because of their unique meat and scales. There are 8 species of this animal, and all of them are protected by international laws. 2 of them are even listed as critically endangered. The 4th species of pangolin are found across Asia, and the remaining 4 are in the south of the Sahara Desert. They're typically found in grasslands and forests where they reside in hollow trees and burrows. Since the past decade, at least 1 million pangolins are trafficked to China and Vietnam, where it's considered a delicacy. Surprisingly, their intricate scales are used in traditional medicines to relieve ailments like arthritis, asthma, and rheumatism. You might have seen pangolins in wildlife documentaries curling themselves into a small ball. This is actually a self-defense action demonstrated by them. When they sense danger, they roll themselves up, exposing their spiky scales, which defeats the jaws of even tigers, lions, and leopards. This also explains their name, pangolin, which translates to roller in Malay language. Pangolins are the only mammals that are covered in scales from head to toe. Nevertheless, this isn't the only defense mechanism that they have in their kit. Pangolins also release a toxic smelling chemical that deters predators from attacking them. Their size varies depending upon the type and location. However, it usually ranges from a large house cat up to 4 feet long. Pangolins mostly consume ants and termites. They have an enormously long tongue that grows inside their chest cavity and stretches up to 40 centimeters, which is larger than their own size, to catch prey. A small portion of their nutrition includes insect larvae, flies, earthworms, and sometimes grass or sand. Amazingly, they can eat up to 70 million insects in 1 year. Pangolins might be able to protect themselves against the wild enemies, but not humans. The IUCN estimates that every 5 minutes a pangolin is picked up from the wild. Over the past 15 years, their population has shown a massive decline and is expected to continue at a rate of 50% for the next 15 years. Wildlife is a complex phenomenon and one of the pillars of our planet. It's crucial that all of us play a part in either discouraging the exploitation or donating to animal conservation projects. There are far more animal species that are on the brink of extinction and not mentioned on this list. We're losing nature like never before, and hopefully these videos can help shed some light on these amazing animals and prevent them from being wiped from our planet. Thanks for watching our Late Night Top 5 channel. We're a new channel and would love to have your support by subscribing, liking, or simply dropping a comment down below. To watch more interesting late night videos, click the links to continue watching more.